So today we are going to learn some new tourism types. This is the third part of the series under types of tourism. So if you haven't watched the last two videos on types of tourism, do have a look. Do try to understand the other tourism types that we are having. So let's begin. So today we will be covering wellness tourism, medical tourism, spa and Ayurveda, religious, spiritual or holistic tourism, adventure tourism, sports tourism and golf tourism. So let's begin with wellness tourism. Now the Global Wellness Institute defines wellness tourism as a travel which is associated with the pursuit of maintaining or enhancing one's personal well-being. So with so much of unwellness embedded in today's travel, wellness tourism is trying to promote that and come up with a promise of combating those negative qualities and turning travel into an opportunity to maintain and improve our holistic health. Now there are two types of wellness travelers. We can categorize it into: one is the primary wellness traveler and the other one is the secondary wellness traveler. Now whom we can call a primary wellness traveler. So these are the travelers whose trip or destination choice is primarily motivated by wellness. So their main focus of travel will be wellness. And the people who are only seeking a wellness experience in their type of travel, like it can be a leisure travel or it can be a business travel, in that if they are trying to participate in any of the wellness experiences, then these type of travelers can be termed as the secondary wellness travelers. Now, it is very important for us to understand that a primary and secondary wellness travel can be done by the same person, obviously on different trips. And these two types of wellness travel, they reinforce one another. Now, over time, some secondary wellness traveler will decide that they can take a primary wellness trip as their interest is in that, and they want to experience with where wellness is there. And for example, a person who visits a day use hot spring during a family vacation, who can be termed as a secondary wellness traveler, may later be motivated to plan a weekend getaway where he can stay at a hot spring resort, which will be termed as a primary wellness travel. Now, many a times what happens is people get very confused with these two terms like medical tourism and wellness tourism. They somehow combine these two terms and think of it as one. But there is a certain line, there's a certain difference between these two. So how we can differentiate, how we can understand medical tourism and wellness tourism differently is, on the first point, if we look at medical tourism is like treating the conditions. Like if somebody is having some disease, they are having some symptoms, to treat that, whatever the surgery or the treatment is required, for that if one person is traveling, that will be termed as a medical tourism. On the contrary, if a person is trying to reduce stress or having a healthy lifestyle or prevent the disease, so when it comes about prevention, then it can be termed as wellness tourism. So Ministry of Tourism has also given some emphasis on the development of these niche tourism products, which includes medical and wellness. Now, as everybody knows that yoga, Ayurveda, Siddha or naturopathy is very famous in India. We have our strong positions as Indians, where we know the Ayurveda, where we know yoga. So these are the potential fields or the wellness systems that we can promote, and Ministry of Tourism is actually doing the same. They are trying to promote these wellness systems, and they are trying to develop those and try to incorporate those in wellness tourism sectors. Next, what they have done, they have drafted some guidelines for wellness tourism, where the publicity materials, the trainings and the capacity building, where they can provide the service to the travelers, can be addressed. Next is all the wellness centers that we have in our country. The guidelines for accreditation of wellness centers have been developed by the National Board for Accreditation of Hospitals and Healthcare Services, the NABH, in consultation with Ayush, and they have released their workshops during the wellness tourisms organized by the Ministry of Tourism also. That was back in 2011. And also, Ministry of Tourism has taken a step forward where they have extended its market development assistance scheme to all the wellness tourism service providers who have these wellness centers. And presently, the wellness centers associated or accredited by state tourism departments are also eligible. They are also eligible for this MDA, the market development assistance. And after the accreditation guidelines of NABH is in place, all the wellness centers seeking MDA would be asked to be as close to the accreditation guidelines of NABH as possible. So this is another step towards promoting wellness tourism. Next is medical tourism. So medical tourism is also termed as medical travel or health tourism. And it is a term which is used to describe the rapidly growing practice of traveling across the international borders or within the domestic borders also to seek a healthcare service, where the services are sought by travelers, which includes elective procedures as well as complex surgeries also. So when a person is traveling for any kind of a surgery or any kind of an ailment which they need to treat for any kind of treatments, then it is termed as medical tourism. Now, India is having few advantages as a medical tourism destination, and there are some of the factors which contribute to it. Now, the first is that most of the doctors and the surgeons that we have at our Indian hospitals are trained or have worked at some of the medical institutions, and they have worked with like in US or in Europe or other developed nations. So they know how the things actually is carried out, the process, they know it very well. Most of the doctors and nurses are very fluent in English, and at top of the line medical and diagnostic equipments from global international conglomerates is available at many Indian hospitals. And lastly, Indian nurses are among the best in the world. Like nearly 1,000 recognized nurses training centers we can find, where there are like 10,000 nurses who are getting graduated annually, and they can teach nursing properly, and all these nurses can directly then go and work in various hospitals all across the country. Now, the initiatives which the Ministry of Tourism has taken to promote medical tourism are like they have set a 4 square meter medical they have a dedicated space for the medical fraternity at the Indian Pavilion at ITB Berlin. So this is one of the initiative which in order was done to promote the positioning of India as a medical destination. There were a few road shows which took place. The last was in 2009 October, where a road show was organized in West Asia, and it was led by the Minister of State for Tourism. Also, there are several brochures, CDs, and other publicity materials which are being used to promote medical and health tourism, which have been produced by the Ministry of Tourism and have been widely circulated for publicity in the target markets. Now, exactly like the wellness tourism sector, medical tourism sector is also being provided with a market development assistance. Now, this scheme was extended to the medical tourism service providers along with the wellness tourism service providers during the year 2009. Financial support under the MDA scheme was provided to approved medical tourism service providers, like those who are representatives of hospitals accredited by the JCI and the NABH and the medical tourism facilitators. It can be like travel agents or tour operators approved by the Ministry of Tourism, Government of India, and engaged in medical tourism. Next is spa tourism. Now, this can be called as a very close associate of wellness and Ayurvedic tourism also. So, India is significantly growing in its spas and Ayurvedic centers, as we all know. Now, we need to understand what are the roots of this, where from we derive this term, and what is the meaning of it. So, it comes from a ancient Sanskrit term. Ayus means life and Veda means knowledge. So it offers a very rich and comprehensive outlook to a healthy life, and everybody internationally it is gaining ground, it is gaining importance, and this art of healing is believed to be originated about 5,000 years back. Now, mapsofindia.com has listed a few spas which are very famous in India and are gaining importance. First is the Ananda in the Himalayas in Uttarakhand, Wildflower Hall in Shimla, Maya Spa in Kerala, the terraces in Uttarakhand, the Kerali Ayurvedic Health Village in Kerala, the Mayfair Spa Resort in Sikkim. So we can see that most of the spa centers are actually located in Kerala, and hence the Kerala tourism policy acts as a very important part in it, has a very important role in it. Where the tourism policy of 2012 was released by the then Chief Minister of Kerala, Mr. Omen Shandy, the policy aims to convert Kerala into an all-season destination, and it also promotes to market Kerala as a visible global brand with equal focus to the domestic and also the international markets. So now, according to the new policy, they have focused on few niche products, which are Ayurveda, backwaters, adventures, ecotourism, MICE, and medical tourism, along with responsible tourism. Now, Ayurveda has emerged as an important USP in the promotion of tourism in Kerala. The Kerala Vision 2025 only envisages Ayurveda as a thrust area to concentrate upon and develop to the fullest possible extent. In fact, almost all tourist resorts in Kerala have some or the other kind of Ayurveda packages available, which can be like economically viable and has a flexibility where people can attend it, and in terms of time commitment required, in terms of the money required, so it has a flexibility in its nature. So there is increased awareness about Kerala, which has been promoted as a prime destination for Ayurveda. Ayurveda offers two kinds of holiday options. One is rejuvenative and the other is therapeutic. Now, under rejuvenative programs, meditation, yoga, body slimming, beauty care, all these comes under rejuvenation programs. And dhara, like Shirodhara, the therapeutic massages, etc., comes under the therapeutic programs. Now, Kottakkal Arya Vaidyashala, the AVS, is a century-old non-profit institution and is one of the foremost exponents of the Ayurvedic system of medicine. It has its headquarters in Kottakkal in Malappuram district and has 17 branches in Kerala and elsewhere. And there are like several thousand outlets which has all across the country. It provides direct employment to more than 2,000 people, and it offers a wide range of Ayurvedic rejuvenation and treatment plans extending up to 28 days and up to 50,000 rupees, including the treatment and also the stay. And it also runs a 60-bed charitable hospital, of 150-bed hospital complex, and an Ayurveda college at Kottakkal. Besides this, a 75-bed Ayurvedic hospital at Delhi. It also has a medicinal plant gardens, a publications division, manufactures Ayurvedic medicines, and also runs a Kathakali troupe. Now, due to this growing popularity of Ayurveda, there is a possibility of misuse, which can lead to a backlash. So in 1998, in order to ensure the standards and curb the mushrooming of these unauthentic centers, Kerala tourism government has come up with a uniform approval scheme for Ayurveda centers, which will fulfill some specific conditions without any quality gradation. So a revised scheme was introduced recently to classify the Ayurveda center so as to we can differentiate the level and the quality of facilities and services that are being provided in these centers. And these centers will now be classified into olive leaf and green leaf categories based on the quality standards that are maintained by them. Now, the next tourism type is religious tourism, which is also known as spiritual tourism or holistic tourism. Now, it can be defined in simple terms as traveling to visit a place, a building, or a shrine which is sacred. So, religious tourism can be explained as one where tourists visit places of religious interest, temples, mosques, churches, monuments of religious importance. Now, Maslow has categorized various types of need in his hierarchy theory. So, basic needs, which are psychological needs like food, water, shelter, safety needs like freedom from threat, attack, and anxiety, and belonging and social needs like giving affection, love, and friendship, and esteem needs and self-actualization needs. So, we can categorize religious tourism into self-actualization needs also, sometimes under esteem needs. So, it depends on the person who is taking this religious tour. according to his needs, we can fit it into that hierarchy theory. Now there are like religious tourism of can be of various motives for people, and this we can define according to what they are trying to manifest from their travel. And in India, like being a secular country, and we have large number of pilgrimage tours which are already prevalent. Now Uttarakhand Tourism Board has a list of places which can be promoted as religious tourism centers, and they are like Kedarnath, Badrinath, Yamunotri, Gangotri, Patal Bhuvaneshwar, Panch Badri, Panch Kedar, the Punyagiri, and etc. So the Char Dhams and the Do Dhams are quite famous, which we know. The Kumbh Mela is also a famous gathering. The Hajj is for Muslims. So likewise, all these places can be promoted for religious tourism. Now, adventure tourism. The UNWTO, the United Nations World Tourism Organization, has defined adventure tourism as a trip that includes at least two of the three elements, which are physical activity, natural environment, and cultural immersion. Now, Adventure Tours Operators Association of India has categorized adventure tourism into three parts. One is land based, air based, and water based. Under land based, we have bungee jumping, cycling tours, motorcycle tours, mountaineering, rock climbing, artificial wall climbing, trekking, wildlife safaris, etc. And under air based, we have hot air ballooning, paramotoring, parasailing, air safaris, skydiving, kiteboarding, etc. And water based adventure tourism consists of kayaking, rafting, river cruising, scuba diving, snorkeling, etc. Now, UNWTO's final report names few of the organizations around the world which are associated with adventure tourism. One is Adventure Ecotourisme Quebec, the Brazilian Adventure and Ecotourism Association, the ABETA, Tour and Safari Association, the TASA, the Mexican Association of Adventure, Travel and Ecotourism, the AMTEF. Now, there is a growth in demand for adventure tourism according to the UNWTO's report. In 2010, they have conducted a market sizing study by the ATTA and the George Washington University and the Zola Consulting. They found out that the global value of adventure tourism was approximately around 89 billion USD, 89 billion. And again, the study was repeated in 2013, and there was a sharp increase in the growth of it, which was around 195% in just 2 years. So this remarkable growth was attributed to few factors, which were an increase in the international departures, increase of travelers going for on adventure trips, and an increase in average spending. Now, if we come back to India, we see that Uttarakhand tourism policy has given special impetus for the adventure sports because it is having quite a good potential for adventure tourism. So the variety ranging from mountaineering to trekking, skiing, everything can be found there. If we see a few examples, mountaineering can be done in Bhagirathi, Chaukamba, Nanda Devi, Kamath, etc. Trekking can be done in Oli, Munsiari, Mundali. Skating can be done in almost all the rivers and lakes in Uttarakhand. The aero sports like hang gliding, paragliding, it is available in Pithoragarh, Jolly Grant and Pauri. So it makes Uttarakhand one of the most attractive destinations, not only in India, but all over the world. Next is sports tourism. So it can be defined as a travel away from one's primary residence to participate in sports activity for recreation or competition purposes, travel to observe sports at grassroots or elite level, and travel to different parts as a to sports attraction and as a in a sports museum, for instance. Now, according to the UNWTO, sports tourism is one of the fastest growing sectors in tourism. More and more tourists are getting involved and taking interest in sport activities during their trips, whether sports are the main objective or travel, or maybe a secondary objective for them. Sport events of various kinds and sizes attract tourists as a participants or spectators, and destinations try to add the local flavors to them to distinguish themselves and provide authentic local experience. Now, mega sports events like the Olympics and the World Cups can be a catalyst for tourism development if successfully leveraged in terms of the destination branding, infrastructure development, and other economic and social benefits. Now, the term sport tourism basically means tourism that is based on the theme of sports. It refers to a specific travel outside the usual environment for either the passive or the active involvement in competitive sport. And sport is a primary reason for travel, whereas the leisure activity may reinforce the overall experience. And one school of thought explains it as a combination of sport activities and travel, wherein it consists two broad categories. One is active sports tourism, that is the travel for purpose of participating in sport, leisure, or recreational activity. And the second category is passive sports tourism, which is travel for the purpose of visiting a sport, leisure, or recreational activity or event. Now, Gaiman and Robinson, in this chart, if you can see, it has the classification of sport and tourism. So there are two categories, broad categories, sports tourism and tourism sport, which has hard definition and the soft definition of it. Now, sports tourism, under the hard definition, we can consider the Olympic Games, the soccer matches, the Wimbledon, the international cricket, and the London Marathon, for example. And under the soft definition, we can consider skiing, the cycling tours, canoeing, caving, etc. And in tourism sport, on the right hand side, if you see, we have examples like bowls, swimming, tennis court high, rowing, snooker, etc. And in the hard definition, we can give examples of the PGL adventure, the sport cruises, center parks, etc. Now, this classification, along with Gaiman and Robinson, Gibson has also given three types of sports tourism, which are sports event tourism, celebrity and nostalgia sport tourism, and active sport tourism. So, we have understood what are the active and the passive form of tourism. Along with that, nostalgia tourism talks about the involvement of of a person who travels to famous sport-related attractions, like visits to various sporting halls of fame, such as the Women's College Basketball Hall of Fame in Snowville, the Tennessee and the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, etc. And the active sport tourism, these are individuals who travel to participate in sporting events comprise the active sport tourism category, and this participatory events can take on a wide variety of forms in a wide variety of sports like golf, kayaking, tennis, fishing, snowmobiling, and surfing are just a few examples of the sports that people travel to participate in. Now, world tourism arrivals are projected to grow at 4.3% per year and reach up to 1.6 billion by 2020. In the same period of time, worldwide tourist spending is expected to grow about 6.7% per year and to reach a US 2 trillion according to the WTO 2001. Now, there were few activities which has promoted sports tourism in India, few of which I have listed in this, and those are the 8 major sport events. The AFC Challenge Cup in New Delhi in the year 2008. The same year, Commonwealth Youth Games in Pune. 2010, the Commonwealth Games in New Delhi. The Field Hockey World Cup in New Delhi in the same year 2010. In 2011, Cricket World Cup, multiple cities it was held on. 2011, again, the Formula One Motorsports Greater Noida. In the same year, South Asian Winter Games Dehradun Oli, and in 2013, the Cricket World Cup, Women's World Cup in multiple cities. Now, if we look for the institutional structure of Indian sports, we have the International Olympic Association, the Indian Olympic Association, the State Olympic Association, the State Sports Association, and the District Sports Association, where the pillars of Indian sports are the Ministry of Youth and Sports Affairs, the Sports Authority of India, and the National Sports Federation. Government of India created a Department of Sports and Youth Affairs in the year 1982, and later it was renamed as the Department of Youth Affairs and Sports, or the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports. In 1984, the Sports Authority of India, the SAI, was established by the Government of India, which was originally given the task of maintenance and the management of those stadiums. Later on, SAI has broadened its activities with an objective on improving the sports facilities and performance of Indian sports persons, and it was managed by the general body and the governing body. The general body is chaired by the Honorable Prime Minister of India, and the governing body is chaired by the Union Minister of Human Resource Development. In India, presently there are 52 national sports federations receiving funds from different governments for their activities. And in addition, there are various autonomous institutions under the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, such as the Indian Olympic Association, working directly with their respective international federations or organizations and run parallel to other departments under this ministry. And IOA is affiliated to International Olympic Committee and the supreme body for 64 federations. Now, ICEC report, you can see there's this map of India where there are different dots of different colors, which shows the possible sports of India, the geographical view of the possible sports of India. Now, the blue dots that you can see, the dark blue ones, those are for trekking and skiing. The yellow one on the western part of India for camel and jeep safari. The green one for paragliding. The pink one for water sports, and the orange for scuba diving, and the light blue for wind diving. So these are the possible sports India that we are having all across the region, and it is categorized by ICEC. Now, next comes golf tourism. The Ministry of Tourism endeavors to work as a catalyst and active supporter for the development of tourism, the golf tourism in the country. Now, sports tourism in India is obviously gaining interest, and especially after the successful completion of the Commonwealth Games in the year 2010. So, one of the latest trends is golf tourism, and in fact, that there has been a recent surge in the interest levels amongst the youth, and it's like international one. In India, it has we have several golf courses of international standards, and there are different associations associated with it which are working towards it. One of which is India Golf Tourism Association. It is a non-profit organization whose goal is to create greater international awareness of India's best kept secret when it comes to golf in India. So to create interest in the field of golf, or sport which is internationally recognized and played around the world, the association has been working towards improving the inbound golf tourism and branding India as a golf destinations. So there are few names which come up. Those are Royal Spring Golf Course, the Naldera Golf Course, the DLF Country Club, Rambagh Golf Course, the Karmali Cloud Golf Course, the Lucknow Golf Course, for example, the Classic Golf Resorts, etc. So these are the popular sites or the prime locations which can be given impetus or given importance in the development of golf tourism. The global golf tourism market is worth over $17 billion according to the International Association of Golfing Tour Operators, the IAGTO. So these were the various types of tourism. Hope you could get an insight and an understanding about the types and how India is promoting them. Hope you like the video. Keep supporting. Do subscribe and hit the like button, because that obviously gives me an inspiration. And also comment. Let me know of what other tourism types you want to know about. So keep learning, guys. See you soon in my next class.